It's a great day here on CHGO. Our guy, Cole Kmet, back on the show. Long interview with Cole. We got a lot to talk about. Catch up on this awesome season the Bears are having. Plus, the report card is in on Caleb Williams' performance against the Giants. We're going to break it all down. CHGO Bears starts right now.
This is the CHGO Bears Podcast on a Cole Kmet Tuesday. And yes, we are proudly presented by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It is never ordinary at Bet365. Before we get to Cole, there's some other breaking news that's been going on here that we've not talked about. And it actually is you, Adam Hoge, with the football. Me? Yes. You've been walking around with the football. You've been patting the football. You've been doing shorts with the football. You might be sleeping with that football. I don't know what's going on with the football, but it's a whole new thing here. He's always carrying the football, and no one's talked about you and the football. Ball. And I don't want to make Cole wait here, although we did tape it earlier.
I think he's well on the way with the rest of his Tuesday at this point.
Well, he wants to watch it back and grade himself. But can you just explain what's happened with you and the football? Ball.
No, this is one of our kicking balls from Carman, and I don't know. I decided to bring it in here a couple weeks ago. I keep it on my desk / the intern / Max's desk. I don't know. I keep
sales guy Max.
You know, I figure if people are gonna keep stealing my desks, I can at least have a football that I keep here.
Wasn't stolen. I gave your desk away. That's what happened.
That sounds like stolen.
No, I gave it away. He doesn't need it. I didn't know that he really wanted it. I was wrong of me.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I like football, and this is a football. So it brings me. This is like my Woot has his comfort pillow. I have my comfort football.
Okay, comfort football.
You have a harmonica.
I do. Not on me today.
Thank God.
Well, actually, while we're playing Cole, I'll probably go acquire get together with my harmonica.
Get together.
That would be called a reunion.
Yeah, have a reunion. There you go. I'll have a reunion.
I got you.
All right, so should we do this? Should we listen to Cole?
Yeah, so we figured, we're 9 games into this great Bears season. Cole Kmet, even though he's not doing the 85 this year, still a friend of CHGO and the program, and definitely likes me and Greg. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think he likes.
No, he likes Carm too.
Well.
He really likes Steven. And we thought it'd be a good time to have him on the show, again. So we did pre-tape this so he can enjoy the rest of his off day. It is Tuesday. It is his off day. Although he got Monday off too. So this is fun. We had a longer interview with Cole.
Yeah, it's
lot of
some
different
really
topics.
good stuff.
We had a lot to catch up on. So, Steve, why don't we go ahead and do it? Here we go. It is time now to bring in our guy. Steven, why don't we hit the music?
Yeah.
Bring in our old music for Cole Kmet.
Let's go.
Joining us once again on CHGO Bears. Cole,
what is up?
You're 6-3. You're technically in first place on this Tuesday morning.
I mean, how about that? That's amazing. I mean, it's not like we have a whole other half of the season left to go, but that's good stuff. I love it. That's good. It's good to sit there at the moment.
Enjoy it while, hey, you got to celebrate the win. 6 of your last 7 games you guys won, surpassing the win total from last year. So, yeah, long way to go. Second half of the season, sights are underway. But it does got to feel good to see how you guys, how does it feel to see how you guys responded from 0-2 when I was ready to jump in Lake Michigan to now winning 6 of your last 7 games and Bears fans and obviously you guys in a much better place.
Well, first of all, were you about to say enjoy it while it lasts?
I was like, is this Coach Bragg's?
I mean,
really
that's what it seemed like you were about to say, which is fine. I mean, I don't know if that just kind of rolled off the tongue or whatever.
I would never say that. For one, we're looking at the playoffs, but yes, I don't know sometimes when I start talking, I don't know what I'm going to say. I knew not to say that, but it's exciting. And for me, it's like, hey, enjoy. You should always celebrate your wins. Yes, you have a second half of the season to go. We have no idea where it's going to go, but just because there's more work to be done doesn't mean we can't celebrate this. I know
Yeah. I was just messing with you, man. I was just messing with you. No, but obviously going from 0-2, which I'm sure, like you said, you're about to jump in Lake Michigan. But I mean, we've really rallied since then, winning 6 of our last 7. Is that if I'm saying that right? So definitely have had our ups and downs along the way during this time, but nonetheless finding ways to win, and it's been a lot of fun to be part of. So I think we've won in a lot of different ways, whether it's been our defense coming up big, special teams coming up big, or offense winning in a shootout. We found a lot of different ways to go win football games, and I think that's going to bode well for us as we continue down here on the stretch, closing in towards the playoffs.
Cole, I knew at 0-2 you guys were going to win 6 and 7 and turn it around. And I don't want to tell you what I see in the future, but I see really good things. So we'll just leave it at that. But I'm curious, the Ben Johnson aspect of this. You obviously learned a ton in training camp, and everyone talked about the details. But as far as going through the season, game days, you're down, you got to come back late. What have you learned about your head coach in season that maybe you didn't necessarily know in training camp?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think what we've gotten from him since training camp is what we get now. So it's the same guy every day, and he doesn't waver on the details or who he is. And I think us as players, like, we all appreciate that, because you know what you're getting on a day-to-day basis, and it's consistent, and the messaging is consistent. So, despite whether we win or lose, we come in that next day and we look at the film, and we look at it objectively, and things that we got to get better at, and things we got to correct, and we keep addressing those issues day to day. And I think we've gotten better along the way. Sure, there's still a lot of things that we need to get corrected and we need to be better at as we go forward here, especially as we face some of the tougher teams in the league. But the consistent messaging from Ben has been awesome, and I think guys have really responded well to that.
Without giving up state secrets, what's one thing you think you guys need to get better at, as you just put it?
Well, I think just finding more efficiency throughout the course of the game. I think, obviously Cincinnati was a really good game for us, but, you look at it from the totality of the season. There's been segments where our run game has done really well, and our pass efficiency hasn't been as good, or maybe our run game isn't doing well, and our passing has been good. But I think that, playing a complete game is still something that we're really searching for, and doing it in a consistent manner on a week-to-week basis. So, those are the things. Obviously, I think we've cleaned up some of the penalties here the past few weeks, but those are still things that we can get better at, and we'll continue to address as the weeks go on.
All right, let's have some fun here. Greg learned that you were a lefty last week. In Cincinnati. Give us the play. What's the play call on that? And Tyson, we had Tyson on last week. He was, Cole went through some progressions. He's like, he got to a second read on that play. What take us through that play in Cincinnati?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't get why these quarterbacks, they're getting paid so much. This shit ain't that hard. It's top-down reads, 1-2, get the ball out. I mean, I don't really understand why these guys are getting paid so much to do this stuff. Just find the open guy and throw it to him. No, but that being said, the play call, I didn't come up with the play call name. It was called Lake Forest, because I guess that's, where I'm from, where I live at the moment, and I don't know. I didn't love the name of the play, but I love the play. So I wasn't going to.
Tyson Bagent gets baby daddy for.
I know. I like baby daddy. That's a good one. That's a good one. But is what it is. What happened was I had thrown a ball in practice. I think it was like on Thursday when I was coming back from my back deal, and I threw it, and it was a pretty good throw. And I didn't think much of it, and I think Ben's eyes lit up, and we went to our screens and kind of specials period, and he just drew up a play on his little notepad and showed it to all of us and told us what to do, and we did it and executed it pretty well on air. And we did it the next day in practice, on a full speed rep. And then he called it against our defense, and I launched one deep. I mean, it had to be like a 60-something yard throw in the air to DJ down the field. And then I think Ben felt pretty comfortable about calling it in the game. So obviously, in the game, the safety covered it pretty well, and went down to Rome there, I guess on a 15-yard check down. But nonetheless, still pretty cool. And it's fun when you get those plays installed. It kind of keeps it light at practice in a sense. And I think all of us have fun running those type of trick plays. So it's a lot of fun when he calls them, and then when you get them executed in the game.
I love that you just have a head coach that just he's willing to scribble something on a napkin right there, isn't he? If he is ballsy. He's not afraid to draw up or call anything. Like, even watching the tape from Sunday, there was a run play where you splits between the tackle and the guard and the guard and the center. There was like two giant holes open in there. And I don't know enough about it to be like, I don't know the reasoning for it or why you're doing it, but there must be something there. Like, Ben's not afraid to try anything.
Yeah, no, I think you see him. I think he just wants to put the defense in uncomfortable situations and kind of test their rules. And more often than not, I think obviously he sees stuff on tape or whatever it is that he feels like he can exploit with a certain package or a certain formation. And it definitely puts the defense's rules to test. And more often than not, it seems like, he's able to get guys open. So, wouldn't be a Ben Johnson offense if the tight end didn't throw a pass and the quarterback didn't catch a touchdown reception. So it's been cool to see over the past few weeks for sure.
Well, he's also got you lining up at fullback and cracking the hell out of guys as Kyle Manung guys going in the end zone. Yeah. People love that.
That's new for me this year. But that's been fun, working that stuff. And obviously that was a cool play there to get our first touchdown of the game. So, but yeah, no, it's been fun. Kyle's been running downhill, and I think our run game, really since the bye week has really come along really well. So it's been really fun to get going up front and get that run game going. And, we'll need it, especially as the weather starts to turn here down the stretch.
With that being said, what has this season been like for you personally? I'm assuming from a production standpoint, you'd probably want more yards, catches, touchdowns. I think everybody on offense has that mentality. At the same time, and we've been saying it on these airwaves, whether it's you or Loveland, like, you guys have just been blocking your asses off from week one on. And so how rewarding is that for you, even though that may not be something that shows up, on the stat sheet the same way that fans can appreciate on the same way as a touchdown, for instance?
Yeah, well, I think what's been really cool about the culture that we've built with our unit in the offensive and from an offensive perspective is that we got a bunch of really selfless guys and guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I think that's really shown up here, especially, the last 7 weeks or so. So, from my end, obviously, you want to make plays in the pass game and all that, but, at the end of the day, I want to win. And, I trust that, Ben's putting us all out there in our best possible spots to go make plays and to go win a football game. So, whatever I'm asked to do in that moment, whether it's to go play fullback, whether it's to go throw a pass, I want to execute it at the highest level possible and, be a guy that they can lean on for whatever they need me to do. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. This is up to this point, this is the most fun I've had in a season with this group of guys. And it's been a lot of fun to, kind of see us grow over the past few weeks. And, we've been really sticking together through it all. So it's just really rewarding. I mean, it's been fun to win games. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And you can have all the stats in the world, but if you're not winning football games, that's no fun.
Well, Adam Johns brought us the reporting from the locker room of how you explained kind of your mentality on the final touchdown against the Giants and your blocking helping kind of pave the way for Caleb to get into the end zone. How fun is that for you to kind of take a man against his will, drive him into the end zone like that, and help clear the way to get that score in a big moment?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, obviously, you think you're getting the ball there initially. I felt like it was open, but then I saw Caleb's demeanor kind of change and turn into like, okay, I'm taking this shit myself, and turned up field and blocked my guy and man, knew that he had to cover me a little bit. So, a little bit of a smaller dude and just took him in the end zone, and then Caleb took care of the rest. So, yeah, it was fun to see Caleb turn it on there for the last 2 drives and kind of do what he does and kind of put on the Superman cape, be that number 1 overall pick, and really just take over the game there that last 6-7 minutes, whatever it was. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man, and just doing whatever I can do to help the team win, and it's been really rewarding these past few weeks.
Do you define the second guy coming in the end zone as a cheap shot on your backside? Because that pissed me off watching it, honestly. I mean, especially because it's in the end zone. Maybe if it's still in the field of play, but do you look at that as good football, or do you look at that as a little too much sauce?
I'm gonna be honest. I watched it on film, and it was totally unintentional. So I know it might have looked like that in the moment, and I felt like it was in the moment, but no, it was totally unintentional by that dude. So
I'll
just
put
kind
my
of
claws
just part of doing business. All
right, I'll put my bear claws down. I was getting defensive for our guy.
Cole, you can answer yourself on this one. I most encourage you to do it, but see, just thinking about your throwing passes, you're blocking, you're catching balls, you pitched in college, all these things. Who's the best athlete on the Bears? Because is it you? Then I'm thinking, Caleb with his legs. I did not personally realize that he was this fast coming in, and then you've got a million other guys that you could consider here.
And when you say best athlete, you mean like guys who could play other sports, or like you're just saying? Okay.
All around freakazoid athlete.
The right tackle's doing cartwheels.
You want? Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to honestly probably have to go with Darnell. The way he moves around, man, at his size, it's pretty freaky, and his strength and athleticism, it's pretty nuts. And when you watch him even just catch or throw a ball around, it just looks easy for him. So, I'll probably have to go with Darnell. Honestly, yeah, he's a freaky dude, man. He's a freaky dude, and he's been tossing dudes around this year. So it's been a lot of fun to see him really come into his own and, to be the guy who we need him to be at right tackle. So he's been a lot of fun to watch.
Cole, when those blocks, and there's been a number of them the last few weeks, like highlight reel blocks, whether it's Theo taking the guy 10 yards out of bounds or Darnell basically just flicking Brian Burns off them. When those get put up in the meeting rooms, are they being put up in the meeting rooms in front of everybody? And if they are, I mean, is that firing up the entire team? Like, I mean, what's that like when those are being shown to you guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we see it all and we feel it all, and I think that's just become part of our identity as a group, and that's been really cool to see. Kind of not something that we've really had here in years past, and I think everyone's kind of wanting to get their licks at it. I know that's how I feel when I'm out there as part of the run game, and we want to go dominate the guy across from us. So we've really kind of taken that, embodied that, and we see it every week from guys all across the line of scrimmage. We see it from the receivers, and it's been cool to see. And I think it's going to be a big part of our culture and identity going forward. So, like I said, that's all the stuff that we're going to need here, especially as the weather turns here in Chicago.
Where do you think that that mentality caught? Like, was that at camp? Was it after the bye when the run game really started to take a hold in that Washington game? I'm just curious. Was it the 11 straight runs against the Cowboys? Was there a singular moment maybe you can look at that kind of where that identity and mentality kind of switched for you guys from changing from what it has been in years past?
Yeah, I think there was definitely checkpoints for that and a progression to it. I think it initially started in camp when we had that really physical practice that one day that I'm sure you guys all remember if you were there. We did a lot of short yardage goal line, and that really hyped up and set the expectation of the intensity of and physicality of what our team should look like. So I think it started there, and obviously there were still some things that we had to put together from an operation and schematic standpoint in the run game that we had to get dialed in with up front. And, that came along over the first few weeks, and it felt like we were close. And I know it wasn't our best running effort through the first 3-4 weeks of the season, but I think we came out of the bye week, really understanding what we had to get done, and showed up against Washington, and then it's really continued forward. So yeah, I think we've had that attitude, that physicality really from that practice. And then I think really since the bye week hit, we've just been executing at a much higher level. We've all been better with our communication, and I think that's led to the high production in the run game.
Can you give a behind the scenes, as we're just kind of talking about culture here, how good, better, best is taking hold here? Like the first time Ben did it, we were like, this might be a little bit corny or whatever, but you guys, like, it just seems like it's really kind of a fun time in there.
Yeah, for sure. The first time someone does stuff like that, whatever head coach, like everyone's got like their own thing. It comes off a little corny or like this is a little interesting. But as you win, man, everyone starts feeding into it and buying into it, and it's definitely one of the things that we all look forward to after a win. So he gets fired up about it, and really the messaging of it is great, and I think guys are really buying into that, and it's always fun to see Ben fired up after a win and give his little rant there.
Does he do a pregame talk too, or is that just you guys are professionals, go out there and kill him? How does that work?
We're just professionals. Go out there and kill him. Yeah. You can tell he's locked in, ready to get his play sheet going and play calls going. So we just go out there and we get ready to roll.
Well, we do shows weekly with Lance Briggs, and to your point about the rally cry, so to speak, he said the first time that Lovie Smith had him break the huddle, world champs, he said they were all looking at each other like, world champs, I guess. And he was like, by the third year, he's like, we believed it. So it's cool as a fan to kind of watch this kind of grow. And it's exciting to see what this future can become. And hopefully you guys are breaking the huddle, saying good, better, best at a Super Bowl here one of these days. I switching over to Colston Loveland, what has that been like working with him and seeing his progression and you guys working together as a tight end tandem unit and doing everything you guys are doing out there?
Yeah, he's been awesome, man. I mean, really since coming in, obviously he had his shoulder injury back at Michigan that he was rehabbing from for the most part of the spring and in the early part of camp. But really, man, as he's gotten going, he's just gotten better each and every week. And he just continues to do the right things every day. I'm sure, not that we talk too much about this, but I'm sure he was a little frustrated or maybe, not feeling like he was doing his part of the deal in terms of the receiving game early in the season. But obviously I think everyone's kind of seen him come alive, these past 2 or 3 weeks. And, he's really a special talent, man. And he's been fun to play with and fun to see him ascend week to week. And as he continues to grow, he's just going to become more and more of a dominant figure in this league and for our team. And he really just presents a ton of mismatch problems across the board for a defense. So he's obviously, a big guy. He's long. He can run, physical, and he's really coming along in the run game as well. I know how hard that was for me. My first year is getting settled in with the NFL run game, but he's not afraid to throw his hat in there and do what he's got to do. And, that's only going to help him in the pass game as well. So it's been a lot of fun to see him grow this year. And, obviously a guy that I've grown to really love and become a really good friend of mine over the course of the season.
Cole, a few more for you. We'll let you go enjoy your off day. Appreciate your time on this Tuesday, but you've been through this journey with Caleb Williams last season and a half now, through some of the ups and downs. Obviously there were some moments in camp and even early in the season where you guys were all kind of going through this together, the pre-snap penalties, kind of the whole deal. I found it interesting in Ben Johnson's post-game speech to you guys the other day, and I forget the exact quote, but he basically said something like, if you guys aren't believing now, just wait, when he was presenting the game ball to Caleb. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing from your quarterback, specifically in the last month or so, that is something clicking here? You can speak on it, I feel like, better than anyone, but other than maybe Caleb himself, just because you've been on this journey with him from the start.
Yeah, well, I think what it is, it's just not just a crazy jump from 1 week to the next. Like, this is continued steady growth, as it is for any player. Like, it starts from when you enter the league up until, for him now. And, for me, like when I first entered the league up until now, like it's a steady growth, and there's ups and downs along the way. And I think a lot of people get caught up in when there's a dip of, oh no, like he stinks or he sucks or this player stinks, and so, like he can't figure it out. And then there's an up moment, and it's like, oh, he figured it out, and then it's back down. But like it really is an up and down deal in this league, and it's hard to figure out. And but Caleb's been navigating it, and I think you go back to last year. Obviously, last year was a really hard year for everybody involved, but he kept at it, kept going at it, and kept showing up to games and did what he had to do, and then comes in this year. And obviously there's some struggles of learning a new system. And Ben puts a lot on his quarterback and a lot on us in general. And Caleb keeps responding every day, keeps coming back for more, keeps learning, and just has continued to ascend. But I mean, I do feel like Caleb's like always had it. Like, we see he has all these fourth quarter, led comebacks now this year. But I mean, I don't think that's anything new. Like if you look back last year, I know, you go back to the Washington game that we ended up losing, but it was kind of a stall out game for most of the game. And then boom, he kind of leads us on a drive to put us ahead there. And then obviously, what happens with the Hail Mary. And then, you fast forward and go up to the Minnesota game when we were at home, and he's able to lead a drive to get us into overtime, so we have a chance to go win the game. And obviously we fall short in that one, but you saw it there. And then last year, the last game of the season against Green Bay, where he leads a drive and we kick the game winning field goal. So he's done this before, and I think now we're just coming out ahead. And it's just been awesome to see him grow from, not only from him performing, but from an operational standpoint, him growing as a leader. It's been really cool to see.
Well, and for you, you come in the league, you're learning a ton, you're moving along, and through all of it, you play 90 straight games to start your NFL career, and I know you had just a ton of pride in that. What like ultimately when you had to make the decision, okay, I can't go this week, was that just all you? Were the Bears protecting you from yourself? How did that go down?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. It was in the Saints game. I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I can't go anymore. And so I ended up leaving the game, and we kind of see what it was. And the trainer's like, it's probably going to be tough to get out there this week. And I kind of gave it till Thursday to really see where I was at. And I knew by Thursday that it was going to be really, really tough for me to go out there and do what I needed to do. And sure, could I have just been out there? Yeah, but that would just kind of been a selfish thing, and that wouldn't have been a benefit to the team at all. So, figured I'd wait and see, and obviously a tough decision in that regard. And as you guys know, I put a lot of stock and a lot of pride in being out there and being available. But at some point the NFL does catch up to you, so is what it is on that regard. And I've had these past 3 weeks were kind of weird for me, kind of in and out of the lineup with injuries and whatnot. But hopefully hoping that's kind of behind me at this point for the rest of the year.
All right. Well, you got another Brian Flores game coming up here this week.
Man.
NFC North. It's been a while since you guys have had a divisional game, and I know the first couple weeks of the season were rough in that regard. But
first game where they play a team for the second time this year. Right?
Yep. Good point. As you dive into it, kind of make this transition on the off day into the new game week, what do you think are the biggest things that you guys can do better this time around than in week one when you couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter against the Vikings?
Yeah, well, we'll be interested to see what the game plan kind of looks like coming up, really starting tomorrow. But I've taken a look at these guys. I think they're obviously still playing well on defense, and they present a bunch of different looks to us, and they're physical up front. It's a divisional opponent, so we know we're kind of getting it from that standpoint. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us, going out to Minnesota and getting a win here. But, we know as we enter these games in the division here down the stretch that we got to have them, and we just got to find a way to win. And that's what we've been doing in weeks past, and we got to do it again this upcoming week. So excited about the challenge. It'll be a good one for us, and hopefully get a little redemption from week one.
Well, before you get your game plan from Ben Johnson tomorrow, I'll send you my game plan here later this afternoon.
I would love that. Yeah.
If you have it.
If you have a trick play, just send it over. Maybe we can get it in for this
No,
week.
see, I'm no tricks. I am just sending Kyle Monungai up the middle. I love the way this guy plays the game, man. Kyle Monungai is awesome. Like, how much fun is it blocking for this dude? He just runs people over at will.
And then
He's great. I mean, he's a bowling ball back there. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. My final thing for you is Notre Dame. What are we thinking here? It's kind of like last year, right? Like they lose 2 in a row to start the year, but they honestly, like, I normally get really mad when they lose at the start of the year, but those were 2 pretty impressive games just from the way they fought. Now all of a sudden we're here at the end of the year. Looks like they might sneak back in the college football playoff. Think the Fighting Irish can return to a national championship?
Yeah, no, I will say I haven't watched as much as I would have liked. I'm kind of a fair weather once we get, like, obviously I'm following the team, but I'll watch more closely as we get maybe closer to the playoff or in the playoffs. But I don't see why, if we went out, why we wouldn't be in. Is A&M 1 or 2 at the moment? I don't know what they're at, but right. They look like a pretty good.
They're 2, right?
They're 2. Okay, they look like a pretty. That's a pretty good. I guess you could call it a pretty good loss. So, I feel like if we went out, I think they're playing good football right now. I think the running backs that we got there are pretty outstanding, and I like the quarterback too. So I think it's all out in front of us if we can win out here and get in the dance, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, the week that the Irish ran for 300 yards, you guys ran for 250 yards or something. So that was nice. A fun weekend of smash mouth football.
I love it. On the way out, my last thing, more under center. I loved when you got in there, tush push and all. That was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping for more of those opportunities too. Yeah, definitely get some more complex reads in there as well. I think I showed I can handle a little bit of it, but we'll see where it goes.
See, I'm accepting the invitation here. We're gonna draw up a play and see if we can get this thing in by week 18.
Okay, all right.
At some point in the game.
I love it.
Ben seems like he's open to ideas. I think we can get this done here at CHGO.
All right.
That'd be good.
Cole, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. Enjoying watching. I mean, really watching you play and the whole team. It's been fun. I know fans have been starved for this, so it'll be fun here as we get into the last 8 games, NFC North battles here, and continued success to you and the rest of the team the rest of the way.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
There he is, Cole Kmet.
Cole.
Now we got to come up with a play.
Who are you to say that? You think you got that level of thing as special coordinator, man? Special teams coordinator?
It was his idea. Were you listening to the interview?
You said that we should come up with a play, and he said, yeah, you should.
No, that's not what happened.
No, that's not.
He said we should come up with a play?
I joked with him that I was going to call him for the game plan, my game plan this week, and he said, I'm excited to hear your trick play.
Oh, right.
So now we're going to come up with a trick play.
Oh, okay. I see how we got there now. That makes more sense.
Good job, Carman.
Thanks.
We got a lot more coming up. I do have some thoughts on a couple things from that interview, and then we're going to dive into a little bit more on Caleb Williams. Got the report card, little new segment here on CHGO Bears on a Tuesday. A lot more coming up on the show. Appreciate everybody's comments in there. We'll get to some super chats as well. But first, whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Football, hockey, basketball. The Bulls ended up covering last night. I turned it off. I got too disgusted.
Lost by 4. Don't know what was the
score. Nah, it was 4.5, so they did cover. Yeah. They did cover. Wemby just took over the game. They were in control. Right there, and then he's like, I'm just going to go on a 10-0 run. Circa Sports, the sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, exceptional customer service. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Guys, at this point, Bears are underdogs. I think you got to think about it.
Doing it right now.
The way they're closing games out in the fourth quarter, 2.5-point dogs going into Minnesota. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's right. And want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Game Time. Make sure you're using the Game Time app. I would have used the Game Time app when I went to the game last Sunday, but got hooked up by John for some free tickets. He probably got them from the Game Time
Brags
app.
and his hookups.
That's right. Shout out to John. But the Game Time app is the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account as I die, and use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. We're finishing this read strong.
You can do it.
Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
All right, can we just talk about how Cole tells the story of the play where he threw the ball last week in Cincinnati, and he basically just like threw a random pass at some point in practice, and Ben saw him do it and was like, okay, we need to drop a play. And he scribbled it down, and that was like Thursday, and they ran it Sunday in the game.
Which is funny because it takes me to last night with did you see the picture of Matt LaFleur writing on the sidelines all stressed out?
Like during the game?
Yeah, during the game. It's like the difference between somebody that the wheels feel like they're coming off for, and you got Ben Johnson over here just like Fantasia, it's like whipping it up in his own
Fantasia.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm referencing?
Yes.
Where he's like coming up with it? Yeah. It's an older school reference.
I think it's a way for Ben to connect with his guys, right? He sees Cole. He gets to honor Cole. Everybody gets excited about it. Then he gets to show everybody, and he also puts stuff in that's going to work, which will help the Bears. I think it's almost like a bonding thing.
I mean, you got to feel bad if you're a Bengals fan that Ben was like, we can put all of this into the game plan with the baby daddy Tyson Bagent play, the Cole Kmet Lake Forest play. They had other different, gimmick plays in that game. He threw the whole kitchen sink at the Bengals because he knew he could.
We've got to work on that name, though. Lake Forest.
Not great.
We could at least call it Viator or something for his high school.
Yeah.
Maybe he's challenging Cole. Like, you need to be more dynamic, and then I'll give you a better name than Lake Forest. Maybe it's just you're just down the middle, gets the job done. Cole, so just like Lake Forest gets the job done, close to house, good place to live.
Yeah, I would say now
it's almost a compliment for him.
The question is, what offensive lineman's going to get the football here? And I think the obvious answer is Darnell Wright. I think at some point he's going to get a pass. Because that was the big thing with Detroit.
Was using Trapillo in the jumbo package right now.
Yeah, but it's about who can catch it, right?
Well,
So I think Darnell is going to be the guy.
It was Darnell Wright that insane one-handed catch in training camp, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he knows he could do it.
That was a one-day thing. They had them all go out for passes, and Darnell Wright won the day. So it's another way, by the way, in the middle of training camp, things get a little bit monotonous. Let's have offensive linemen catch football day. I'm here to salute Ben Johnson all day long, by the way. That's my plan.
Whatever beats the Vikings.
Right. And I'll just say this much, it was great to talk to Cole again. And, Cole is certainly somewhat of a lightning rod of a conversation for a player, for fans to talk about, especially when they drafted Colston Loveland. You had a lot of people in the offseason already kind of skipping ahead to the point of, do they keep him at some point? Should they trade him and things of that nature? But Cole Kmet is a winning player, and I think this year you can say what you want of his ability versus Colston Loveland's in receiving, or we all understand Colston Loveland is a explosive player that's going to do great things for this franchise for years to come. But watching Cole Kmet week to week, I just wish fans would appreciate more what this whole team on offense is doing. As Cole said, selflessness to block for each other. And Cole has been at the forefront of this. And this is an identity for this Chicago Bears team. And I think it's something we as fans, if the team is embracing this no block, no rock mentality, I think fans should too. And we all need to acknowledge just how great and how pivotal the tight ends have been for the run game and for the pass protection and how they have been blocking their asses off all year long.
I'm just not here for like any Cole Kmet slander. The dude came in with Nagy, went through Eberflus. Now he's with Ben Johnson. He's done literally everything that they've asked him to do. He played in 90 straight football games. He's from here. He's been a model citizen. He's represented the Bears as well as you possibly could. The guy. I don't get anybody's. Sure, is he the greatest pass catcher in the history of the NFL? No. He's not. He's a good football player. He's a winning football player. And part of that, too, him and Colston Loveland being good buddies, the way he talks about him, he's helping the 10th overall pick be as best as he can be at his same position. So, like, there's nothing for me, at least, to not like about Cole Kmet and wanting him to hopefully spend his entire career here and be an asset. And it would be unbelievable, obviously, for Bears fans and him if they get to the mountaintop and he's a part of it.
I don't know if this is just because I've been trying to make a concerted effort this year to, like, kind of hang out in places that I feel like are more real life than sometimes, like Twitter can be at times. I haven't seen a lot of the Cole Kmet hate this year.
I'm not saying there's a ton.
Like I feel like most knowledgeable fans that understand what's happening realize how well he's been playing this year and embracing his role as more of the blocking tight end and understanding that, honestly, that's where he was supposed to be the last couple of years. People forget they signed Robert Tonyan a couple of years ago to be the move tight end, and he couldn't do it. So then Cole had to play both positions. Then last year they signed Gerald Everett, and he was bad. So then Cole had to do both positions. This is the role, and, I think it's okay for me to share this. I reached out to Cole the weekend of the draft when they drafted Colston Loveland. Just kind of want to, what do you think about this? And his response was the most Cole Kmet response ever. That's who he is as a player and a person. He's like, we needed another tight end. I totally understand this move. This is going to be really good for the team. And that wasn't just coach speak or player speak on the record or anything. That was how he truly felt. And so it should be no surprise that he is embracing this role on the team. Sure, would he like to score a couple more touchdowns and do more of the, his bat swinging celebration? Yeah, but who doesn't? But he sat here on his show last year multiple times on the 85 talking about, how satisfying it is to get a touchdown block as much as a touchdown catch. And he had two of those on Sunday in a win. So I think that anybody who really understands football, understands what's going on with this team, understands anything about tight end play, realizes that he's playing well right now. And there's really no reason to be hating on anything with Cole Kmet this season.
Well, and just what you're talking about, the play where Caleb scores to put the Bears ahead on Sunday. Some guys, you don't throw them the football there, they're out of the play. That there's maybe a minimal effort to do something. Not this dude. I'm going to drive you into the back of the end zone. I just, it irritates me, and maybe I'm actually just jumped too much into Bragg's land where I'm paying too much attention to what people are saying.
No, I mean, this isn't just a Twitter thing. I mean, I don't think I'm out of pocket for saying that ESPN 1000 over the summer had more than a few segments where they talked about getting rid of Cole Kmet, so much so that we did a segment on our show to push back on that idea about it. So,
right, I'm talking about more in season, though, now that we've seen what this looks like under Ben Johnson.
Well, then in season, if you want to point to a specific, like the Raiders game wasn't a perfect game, and there were fans that were being hard on him in that game. And so that's fine. I think he's not above criticism. No player on this team is. But I also think there's a lot of box score watchers out there. And because he only has one touchdown and how many yards on the season, that's where people are going to go to. This is such a fantasy football driven world, and, the tape on, how you're going to catch passes, but not appreciate just how much they have been, and I add Colston Loveland in this too because the production has just started for Loveland, how much these guys have been blocking since week one. And when you talk about Carm, him bringing up in the interview how him and Colston have become like best friends, as he said it, Like I wanted to dive into that a little more. We didn't have the opportunity to, but that's great to hear. And it's not a surprise. But at the same time, I think you got to give both those guys credit because ultimately, while Ben Johnson does run a lot of 2 tight end sets, they are competing against each other in a lot of ways for reps. And you're starting to see Loveland's snap usage go up. You're starting to see Luther Burden's snap usage go up. You're starting to see Kyle Monunga's usage go up. But it feels like the culture of this team is selflessness, and they're all playing for each other. And that is something that you take all the numbers away. You want to talk about, can this team be a playoff team? That's the kind of stuff that is a big playoff identity culture.
And I see a lot of comments, about the future of Cole Kmet here. I look, based on how this is working right now with Ben Johnson and the role of the tight ends in this offense, I would say right now it's way more likely that he gets an extension that lowers his cap hit than they cut him loose anytime soon.
Well, I mean, remember in training camp, Ben listed like 4 guys that he said he could trust.
Yeah.
And Cole was one of the 4.
100%.
And Cole wasn't someone Ben Johnson drafted.
Ben's not an idiot. Ben's a smart guy. Ben's going to see what anybody realistically watching Cole play and realize his value that he has to the locker room, to the field, to the versatility. Not the greatest pass catcher. Catches plenty of balls. Able to do it. Able to block, understands the offense, always on point, comes in every single day. Why wouldn't you want that guy on your team? Find whatever the number is, whatever they pay him. Sure, great.
All right, we got to take another timeout. We come back. We'll take a closer look at Caleb Williams' game against the Giants. Might surprise you a little bit. I've been working on a little project here for the last few weeks, so I figure we'll throw out a trial balloon here in the next segment and take a look, see what people think. It's coming up next here on CHGO Bears. But first, we've been warning you for weeks, and boy, did that snow show up. Winter, it's not technically here, but it sure is as far as your furnace is concerned this week. And my home's heating is up for the challenge. I've had the cat just sleeping right in front of the vent. I don't know if yours does that. That's his favorite place. When the heat's running, just right there next to the vent. Yep. Just blowing on him.
No, I made my cats step outside yesterday for 1 second so they understand and appreciate the inside. That's what I did. I'm like, get out here right now, and they ran back inside.
That was really weird. Anyway, my heating is up for the challenge because I call 4 Seasons. You should get your 4 Seasons furnace tune-up today, and if you happen to need a new one, you could save up to $4,000 on furnaces right now. 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Your trusted local experts are 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com.
And a shout-out to our new sponsor, Brunt Workwear.
Let's go.
Look at these things.
This is right up my alley here.
Look, give me that shoe.
Give me one.
Give me that.
Give me a shoe.
Wearing these.
You're going to put them on?
All right, fine. You can put it on. Look, these boots right here, they are built for the toughest job sites in the planet, for our construction man, Greg Braggs, which we're trying to get him to go back and do that for a career. And then
you want these?
Yeah, and we're also thinking about just even you could have been out there in the snow with those, and you wouldn't even felt any of the snow on there because they're waterproof.
How do they feel, Hoge?
They're perfect. They're 11s.
Mm-hmm.
Can anybody?
That's my shoe size,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna wear these out today.
There you go.
Look, look. I mean, just the best quality going on right there. Their founder, his name is Eric Gerard. He grew up blue collar. He started Brunt. Wanted to hook up his friends in the trades.
Why is this table so far away?
It's a good thing you got long legs.
This is not. I mean, there's a good fashion here, but it's not just a fashion brand. That thing is a functional, great boot that you need in your life.
I needed them when I was shoveling yesterday.
You did. Temps are dropping. The holidays coming up. Time to treat yourself to the hardworking man in your life. Some real comfort. Skip the throwaway gifts and get him something built to last. Brunt Workwear. Our listeners, you get $10 off the entire order with the code CHGO at checkout. That's bruntworkwear.com. Use code CHGO. Order today and let them know you heard it here on the show. Brunt Workwear. You look good, Hoge.
Look at that. I just made him reappear
That's
behind me.
That's amazing. It's a new set design for us. Right when we get off here, we can put on the boots and go shovel the alley. What do you think?
Greg's been on his phone for an hour and a half.
He's got something big going on over there.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm taking care of things.
Embellish. Act like you're doing something super important. You're texting with polls. What are you?
I'm not texting with polls. To start the show, I was retweeting the show and posting the link.
You're texting with Kevin Warren. You're getting a stadium deal done.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
In the region.
There's no chance Greg's getting that done.
You're ordering Taco Bell. Your best Taco Bell order ever.
I'm waiting for the whole thing to fall out in January once we get through this calendar year with the stadium in Arlington tonight, so we can move it to the region.
Okay. Hey, Indiana, let's go. If you're leaving Chicago.
Plenty of space and opportunity.
Yeah. All right, let's go, Hoge. Adam Hoge has done work.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
So the last 3 weeks, I've been trying to figure out a better way to sort of chart and analyze what Caleb's doing from a quarterback perspective. You know, when it comes to, you could look at the numbers in the pass, we look at passer rating, we look at, completion percentage, and obviously the head coach has challenged him to a 70% completion percentage, which isn't really realistic. Then you look at a game like Sunday where I counted 5 drops. I think PFF counted 6. It's just, even that's a little subjective. So it's like, how do you quantify all of this? So over the last 3 games, I've been trying to look at a couple different things. I mean, but the main 2 are accuracy and decision making. But within that, there's, like when I brought this up to Steven earlier, he's like, well, how are you counting the throwaways, right? Or like he actually took 2 sacks in the game. There were 0 sacks, but he did take 2 sacks. Both were wiped out by penalty. So did he happen to miss somebody wide open on one of those plays? Because if he had seen that, completed it, then you would decline the penalty and you would actually get a big gain. Really what you need to look at is the amount of dropbacks in a game. So I counted 44 dropbacks when it was all said and done against the Giants.
Okay.
We'll look at accuracy. So I'm trying to come up with an accuracy score. Here's what it looks like. So ultimately 32 throws where you're actually taking a look at accuracy, because I'm not going to count a throwaway as an inaccurate pass because he's making a decision, which gets us to a decision-making here in a second. 32 passes, which you grade accurate, not accurate, or was it at least catchable, sort of a middle ground, which you get kind of like half percentage for that. So it came out with 75% of those 32 throws were what I would call accurate, which you take that. Last week, believe it or not, it was actually higher, which we'll show in a second as well, just kind of how this looks over the last 3 games. The accuracy of these 3 games is actually the lowest, but still more than acceptable. The decision score this week was super interesting to me, because I think we all came out of the game feeling like Caleb played really well. And by the way, there's no change to that, because he did. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But I'm trying to quantify, okay, when you actually have moments in the game where you have to make a decision. Do I throw this or not? Am I going here to this read or that read? Am I making a good decision or a bad decision? Because not all plays are created equal from that standpoint. So take a look at this to give you an idea of all the different things that can happen within one play. Right? You can have a good decision. You have a bad decision. Check down, which also a lot of times you just consider a good decision, but that's not quite the same as like ripping a throw to a wide open guy over the middle for 20 yards. So there's different levels to it. Then you have your scheme plays, right? Like if I'm dropping back and I know this is a screen over here to the left, quick screen, then that's what I would call one read schemed up play. So that just gives you an idea of how these are all a little bit different. So we have 34 total plays where we're looking at decisions here, 19 good decisions, 6 check downs I counted against the Giants, 9 bad plays, bad decisions, which surprised me a little bit when it was all said and done, that he made 9 bad decisions in this game. To compare that to last week against the Bengals, I had him at 3. Only 3. And against the Ravens, I had with 6. Okay, so and I'll give you a couple examples. I don't know if you guys have any questions on this or not, but
So to be clear, you just did the last 3 games, not the whole season.
Correct. I want to finish once we get. I'm probably go back at the end of the season. And
I'm digesting all the information.
And then
over
I
here,
guess
Adam.
my next question would be, to me, the accuracy one I think is probably I don't know if easier is the right word, but maybe a more fair breakdown. But when you're deciphering the decisions from good decision to bad decision, how much are you acknowledging that you may or may not know what the reads are? Like, where what the progression read is.
100%. Well, one of it just comes from experience. Like, I think at this point I can diagnose which ones are the scheme plays.
Well, of course,
he's hitting the check down.
Leaving scheme plays
Right.
off of it.
Well, the thing is, when you watch the film, you can see the reads that he's going through, especially from the end zone angle, where he's looking on the field. So now, is it possible that he's going through the reads the wrong way? Yeah, but probably
Unlikely.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not. And then yes, there are. I'll give you an example. Like, there are plays I highlight. So, then you ask questions. You find out from the head coach, or you go in the locker room during the week and you say, "Hey, I was a little confused on this, even off the record. Can you tell me what was supposed to happen?" I brought up one of these on Hoge and Johns yesterday. That first drive, 4th down, he throws to DJ Moore. He scrambles off to the right, fires a missile down the right sideline in the end zone. That was maybe a catchable ball. It wouldn't have been the easiest catch in the world.
It's not a drop. If people are counting that as a drop, that's ridiculous. Keep going.
Right. I put drop question mark on that one. What I noticed, though, is as I'm watching the film, I think he actually had DJ Moore open earlier in the play, which would have been within his normal progression standing in the pocket. And right at about the time where he could have hit DJ coming over the middle, which might have been a post, whatever, it seemed like the window opened up there. He's feeling a little bit of backside pressure, and that's when he decides to scramble. Now, later in the play, as he's scrambling to the right, as he makes that decision to throw it and try to get a touchdown out of it, remember, it's 4th down, Luther Burden's guy fell down. And Luther Burden's standing there basically 4 or 5 yards beyond the first down marker, wide open. A much easier throw. First down, move the chains. And instead, Caleb went to the end zone on what could have been a touchdown.
Arguably one of the best throws of the year by any quarterback.
So how do you grade that, right? Like, how do you – well, guess what the head coach said yesterday? Should have hit DJ Moore earlier in the play. That was the read. That's what I thought he had time to make it. That's what we want to see.
I don't want to bottom line this to a very basic level, but the bottom line is it's a very talented quarterback who is still finding his way. That's what's going on right now. I think that's really what I'm hearing of what you're doing.
Right, but the reason why I wanted to have this discussion and why I'm purposely not looking at the comments right now, because I don't want people to feel like I'm killing the guy, because I'm not. Because this is I don't even think conundrum is the right word of Caleb Williams. This is the talent of Caleb Williams. So that's one example where that gets marked down as a bad decision, and the head coach confirms it. We want him to make that throw. And he didn't even mention the shorter check down option to Burden there instead of firing a missile into the end zone. You know the 29-yard scramble he had where he got down to the 1-yard line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that was the longest run of his career. I would have sworn the run in London was longer.
That is surprising.
It would have been longer in London, but he just fell down in the middle of the field.
Even that one was long, though. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Whoever's saying show your math, Hoge, it's literally we put it on the screen.
Don't get bothered.
You said you weren't going to read the chat.
I know.
That's my job.
Stay away from Staylor and Waldorf. He's dangerous.
29-yard scramble, wide open check down. I mean, DeAndre Swift is standing there wide open in the middle of the field, probably gain of 10, 12 yards or whatever.
Who was the check down?
DeAndre Swift.
Just
standing right there in the middle of the field, completely unchecked. And it's like if Caleb had then scrambled and gotten sacked there, that would have been a play that we talked about like all week as like a massive F up by the quarterback because he didn't hit his check down, tried to scramble instead. He's holding on to the ball too long, all these things. But because he's superhuman, he turns that into an amazing scramble for 29 yards. So this is, and then later, by the way, he makes what, and I'm going to break this down in my insider analysis column with Johnsy. The best throw of the day for me was the Luther Burden throw at the end of the game.
Yep. Anticipation.
Incredible anticipation. It was a great route by Burden. Everything about that was the timing, the rhythm, the accuracy was all great. And so this is why the third thing that I'm judging here, we got accuracy and decision making, but something I've been doing for years since Mitch Trubisky was the quarterback here.
Become a diehard and whatnot.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg.
Is actually give a grade. Because like I don't need to, well, actually I am. I'm going to quote the great Hawk Harrelson right now. TWTW. The will to win.
Well, right, because at that point in the game, when you want to talk about decision, passing up the check down on Swift or on the final touchdown of the game, even Cole said it in the interview, I was expecting the ball. Then Olamide was behind him as the second read coming across, and he was open for a touchdown. But at that point in the game, Swift had dropped a ball. Monungai had dropped a ball. Rome had dropped a couple balls. Olamide had dropped 3 balls, it felt like. So it's hard to say he should have hit the check down when he got the 29 yards himself, when he got the touchdown himself. And he, at that point, how can you blame him for not trusting his receivers who had the most drops as a unit in a game for any team in the NFL this season?
Yeah, but I don't think that was it. He saw an opportunity. He knew he could take it to the house, or he thought he could.
Well, but I also think it is a vibe thing. For whatever reason, the chemistry with the passing game was not happening.
But that's where I think there's a difference between the two scrambles. So I gave him a bad decision on the check. He failed to throw the check down, and then he scrambled for 29 yards. When you have a wide open check down like that without an obvious run in front of you, like that's got, I guarantee you they're in the quarterback room saying that was a hell of a play. Hit the check down, please. Because when he decided to go on the move, there was no obvious touchdown in front of him when he made that decision. The difference between that one and the one late, and by the way, I still gave him a positive grade on the play because he ran for 29 yards. That's where I'm getting to here, where it's not, we have to look at all these things sort of independently. Is the ball accurate? Is the decision good? And then did he still do something positive at the end of the day? So he got a bad decision grade on that one, but his overall grade was still positive on that play. However, I didn't mark him for a bad decision when he decided not to throw it to Cole Kmet or Olamide to see it Zacchaeus, because as you just said, Carm, there was still an obvious opportunity for him to run forward and pick up yards, and it turned out to be a touchdown. So I'm not going to say that's a bad decision to pass up the throw. And obviously
he had the numbers on his side,
yes,
because Brian Burns completely bit on the play action there,
which was an incredible fake by Caleb on that play too. And he knows he's got Cole to turn around and block, which Cole did his job. So just to sort of wrap this all up real quick, when it comes down to it, so the decision score was lower this week, but the actual grade I gave him was a 10. And okay, there's a summary from the 3 games that I've looked at here, right? So decision score a little bit lower than last week. The grade last week was an 11. The Giants game, it's a 10. So it's actually a dip below, but it's still, to translate that for you, an 11 and a 10 is blue chip player. When we talk about my tiers that I was doing, the roster tiers earlier in the offseason, like so he played like a blue chip player the last 2 weeks. So that's what I'm getting at, where like I'm not knocking the guy. Can he play? Can he make some better decisions? Ben Johnson said as much in his press conference yesterday. But at the end of the day, the guy still put the team on his back and made some incredible plays to get a victory against the Giants. And that's what you want to be. That's where you want to live in this world, where you have your franchise quarterback. And I guarantee you, at this point in Josh Allen's career, well, maybe they are this week because they lost to the Dolphins, but most weeks they're probably not nitpicking every single decision the guy's making, because he's an MVP type player who you know is just going to will your team to victory most weeks. And that's what you want to get to, and that's what Caleb did on Sunday.
I think you did a great job going through it there, Adam, and it just confirms what my brilliant analysis has been telling everybody every week, which is that he's an extremely talented quarterback that is developing in a normal progression. And there's nothing abnormal about what's going on right now, other than the fact that they're just winning games in the fourth quarter, which is godlike. So that's been sweet. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be so. I know there's a lot of sensitivity out there, but as a quarterback whisperer, I think you just confirmed what I've been talking about. Really, what do you think, Greg?
I think you're an idiot.
No, look, man, you, of course, on any particular, well, the best thing would have been to go there, but he could have gone there, and then he did this. Was it a positive play? Yes, it was. Was that perfect? Well, maybe not, but does it really matter? The Bears, they picked up a first down, they got a touchdown, whatever it is. The play where he runs it in doesn't go to Cole. That one actually, that reminded me of seventh grade after school sports. I had Slutsky open in front of me. I could have gone to Slutsky, but I was like, it's Slutsky. And Slutsky was a sure-handed guy. Slutsky could make the play. But I'm like, you know what? These legs are sweet.
Was that really the name?
Yeah, I
Yes.
was about to say, like, I question that this is a real person or just you trying to use a reason to say the word Slutsky.
Joey Slutsky was a real person. Look it up.
Well, we did learn Scrody's real.
Of course Scrody's real. Poor guy.
Slutsky right now, I don't know what he's doing. He's probably...
Poor guy gives us a super chat on the post game, and then he's getting goofed on. He's coming to the tailgate. Now Slutsky. He probably had a rough go of it throughout school.
Goofed? Scrody wasn't goofed on. He became iconic. That's what happened to Scrody.
An iconic Scrody?
He's an iconic Scrody. What you put? If that dude put a super chat and sent it a text to a radio station or something, you think they talk about him like that? Here, he's a hero. Everybody's going to remember Scrody now. Scrody's a thing. We turned Scrody into a thing. Scrody owes us his life. And so does Slutsky, by the way, for what I've done for him today.
I have no comment.
Hey. I thought this was
normally Guy Finley irritates me in the chat, but this is actually a great and I love Guy Finley, great diehard who I've had great conversations with. Nobody drives me crazy in the chat, but I think this is a great comment by him, maybe his first in a while. But he says, this reminds me of Dead Poet Society, where we're going to assign a mathematical score to poetry. Caleb is playmaking poetry like Favre was as a gunslinger. You accept the risk and ride with him. And I think that's a good balance. Like, I think that's great homework, but I think it also shows where you're saying you gave a bad grade for the decision, but a good grade overall. The poetry that Guy Finley is talking about there, that there is some things you have to accept. And Ben Johnson talked about that yesterday, that not wanting to take that away from him, because if you're going to praise him for how many sacks he avoided, and he's, from a sack avoidance metric standpoint, been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which is an unbelievable turnaround considering the 68 sacks he took last year, then you can't also say, well, don't do this on certain plays when he's saving you on plays that get blown up from a protection
You
standpoint.
don't want to take that away from him. You don't want to take that crazy playmaking ability that he has. And like that 29-yard scramble to me is like the perfect example. The guy completely misses his check down. Like, and an obvious like gainer check, not just like check down to be safe and get a couple yards. Like, it probably would have been a first down, check down. But he made a better play out of it somehow.
Right, it almost turned into a touchdown.
Yeah. Now, I'd also like to not see him get hit the way he did. That was
when I said he didn't take a bad hit. That was actually
a bad hit. So even there,
Dart got put out of the game for a similar hit.
Exactly, and those will add up over time. So that is, I don't even want to say risk and reward, because he takes really good care of the football. For the most part,
and he doesn't rarely takes hard hits.
Yeah. So, but you do hold your breath sometimes when he's running around. But sorry, Carm, real quick. To explain sort of the reasoning for this a little bit more. I admittedly, raising my hand, this is part of the trap that I would fall into sometimes with Trubisky and with Justin Fields, putting too much emphasis. So I mentioned in there, the grades I've been doing forever, and it's not that complicated. Great plays are worth 2, good plays worth 1, a lot of zeros that are just no grades, -1 for a bad play, -2 for a really bad play. Like think about like your back-breaking turnovers and things like that. And sometimes you would have these games where the accuracy wasn't good, the decision-making wasn't good, but Trubisky would scramble and like do this and that. Remember the year his QBR was actually like 4th in the league? He had I think it was 2018, he had the 4th highest QBR in the entire league. But I don't know that anybody's sitting there watching the tape going to be like, this guy's a franchise quarterback. You know what I mean?
I might have said that.
What?
I might have
He
said
definitely after the Tampa Bay game, he definitely said it. Have you ever seen anybody 6 touchdowns? You said it. I know you definitely.
It was an incredible display that day.
Yeah. You had him in the Hall of Fame.
You would have thought the Messiah had shown up at Soldier Field that day.
The point I'm getting at is there was a lot of games where the accuracy wasn't great, decision-making wasn't great. You would still give them an overall score, and you would fall into this trap of, we have our guy, when you really don't. But those games are okay as long as they're not what you're living and dying on every single week. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So then I can go back to last week's game against the Bengals where the grade's high, the decision-making's high, the accuracy's high, all across the board. That was a great game, but it didn't have – and it still had the TW.
There we go.
At the end.
Which is crazy because they were showing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, the NFL films and the Bears shared, and he was absolutely exhausted, as somebody else said in the chat, those last 2 drives, and still had enough to push over the top to get the touchdown. I will also say from the behind-the-scenes stuff they showed from the mic'd-up guys, I know we talk a lot of Tyson Bagent, your guy, but, man, do I love Case Keenum.
He's awesome.
Case Keenum has to stay on this team. You can see how important he is to that quarterback room and how important he is to Caleb Williams. There was a few times they showed him gassing him up on the sidelines or talking to him in the way that he needed to. Case Keenum was a great pickup for the Bears, underrated one.
Good underlining. That was impressive. Was building them up in a big-time way. All right. To end the show, hold on. Are you ready? You got something you want to add?
Well, I think we need to bring up Asante Samuel on the way out.
Okay. Well, all right. I've got something that I just want to get to, but
do something stupid or serious.
If
I was doing a meeting right now, I'd say, is this a stupid way to end the show? Or which we could still do, but I would like to get to the serious thing first.
Do the Asante, and then we'll do the best ending that you could ask for on a day like today.
Well, as you see here, Jeremy Fowler reported last week that Asante Samuel Jr. Had a bunch of free agency scheduled visits. And so this started last week. He's already been to the Panthers, then the Packers last Thursday, Vikings last Friday, 49ers yesterday, and today Asante Samuel Jr. is at Hallis Hall, at least reportedly, and then the Steelers tomorrow. I guess word is he's going to go through all of these meetings before he ultimately comes down to a decision, but it's an interesting one and maybe somebody that can help this secondary room. But I would also say that if they do sign him, maybe that gives you a peek behind the curtain on how confident they are, Jalen and or Kyler, or how quick they could come back, if at all.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that for me. I think there are a lot of variables to this. One is, how healthy is he? It's spinal fusion surgery. That's
significant,
a serious deal, and not a lot of, that's scary. So I would say most guys do not return to being the same player after that procedure. And so these medicals, I think he's approaching it well from his side of being like, I'm going to visit everybody, see what my market is. Maybe that drives up the price a little bit if you can create a bidding war. On the other hand, how many of these teams are going to be like, I don't feel comfortable with this. We're not even going to offer anything. So that's a huge part of it. And then in terms of what it means for the Bears, if they do offer him in reading into the only thing I wouldn't rule out is if he checks out medically, he's a good player. I think you could look at it being like, well, in the meantime, he might, as good as Nashawn Wright's been, and I've been singing his praises as just like what he's been doing, any opportunity you can have to upgrade, I think you got to take it seriously. So you could also look at it like that.
Right. And somebody that, a player to that caliber isn't always available this time of year. but obviously the extenuating circumstances dictate that. I see Gary in the chat saying that it would take him a few weeks to ramp up, and I think that's another part of the equation. The idea that he'd be able to kind of drop in like C.J. Gardner-Johnson has and immediately make an impact is not realistic, especially with what he's coming back from, but also CJ's familiarity with Dennis Allen. Asante Samuel Jr. doesn't have that. So I think those are things you got to take into account as well.
Bears doing the right thing, kicking the tires, and if he checks out medically and you want to take a spin at it, I'd have no problem with it.
I do want one of you guys, don't give me a look, because whatever you have, I promise is stupid. I do want one of you guys or somebody, please, to try to get any kind of an update on Kyler or Jalen.
Okay.
If
I don't know why, but
What do you think they're going to
he's
tell
been
us?
giving an update every week. Do you guys not watch the press
What do
conferences?
you? How would you go about getting that?
He said multiple. I just he said more than.
Nobody's asked him
No, but I
lately.
keep hearing this.
Nobody's asked him lately.
What do you mean lately? He got asked twice. Do you think? How long do you think he's gonna be out? He said it's gonna be the short-term variety. He made it very clear he could be back after 4 weeks. It's not 4 weeks.
That was
yet.
a couple weeks ago.
I know, but what has changed? It hasn't been 4 weeks.
But we're getting closer now, so we want a new update. We want a new update.
Okay, I'll ask.
And
about
people ask me
No, I
to
won't.
find
Actually,
out.
I won't.
You guys are the ones that are asking, so you guys find out.
Okay.
Get in front of some of the stupid questions being asked in there and ask about Kyler and Jalen.
Okay.
I told you Jalen was in the locker room a couple weeks ago.
Hawks is coming up. We got to go, and we got super chats. $9.99 from Greg Baggs Jr. Last time I was this happy was 2018. All I want for Christmas is a winning record and beat the Packers. Jordan Love is bad. What's FTP?
F the Packers.
F the Packers. Thank you. Love the sweatshirt, Bryce. Carman's the GOAT. Psych. Bear down. Bags. Kevin Majeski. Doesn't look like, I don't see a ski on the end of that. Looks like a Majusk. A Macyusk.
Just read it.
Kevin, you're the man. Can
agree.
Can agree?
And Green Bay is very winnable now.
Time to put an end to the Green Bay reign over us. Green Bay.
It's not good when Greg's reading better than you are.
No, that's maybe Kev speaks Majewski better than I do. But that's a good. But hey, absolutely, they're gettable. I hear you. Bear Talk Show, $5. My dog is getting put to rest tomorrow. That's brutal. Happy to have a podcast like you guys to help deal with that today. Bear the F down.
Don't you dare start laughing. What are you?
I'm not
For the
laughing.
record, I laughed at
He laughed.
because how he said that's brutal.
Well, it is. Caleb Williams, 18, is and will be the GOAT.
Sorry about doing that, man. There is honestly nothing harder than putting your pup down.
Believe me, the only thing I like in this life is Poppy, so that's horrible. I hope.
Shout out to Jackie.
That was depressing too.
I mean,
No, but it is. It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, that's
so
brutal.
We'll be thinking about you.
Jonathan Otten, is that our guy, J.O.?
Laughing.
J.O., fan of the year. Awesome show today, gentlemen. Happy Veterans Day to all that served, past and present, including you, Jonathan. You're the man. Carm, can we get some toots? Have a great day, everyone, and bear down. I don't have any toots for you today, but I do have this because Guy Finley's out here with his poetry. So I just wrote a poem over here while you guys were talking about whatever you're talking about. Ready? Here we go. Back to throw. What to do? Open, close. Wide open. Fleeting the moment. Now and gone. Run with wind. Against the gale. Win, lose. The game begins and never ends. Caleb. Thank you for watching. Blackhawks is next.
We all silly like the mayor.